Hello, everyone! If I decide to save this part, which I might or might not, welcome back to another exciting episode of Echoing Bonds. Last we left off, everyone was chilling out on the beach, and the next morning they were going to get into a contest hunting down 2 dragons. Noctua woke up in the Eventide Inn, but no one else was there with him. Or so he thought. The door eventually was thrown open, and Ansler the Red wandered out, taking his own room in the inn. That was the last we saw of them, and we'll be picking up the next morning. So, if everyone's ready, I'd love to just hop right in. Everybody good?
Yeah!
Good.
Excellent.
Oh my god.
Turning off my fan.
Okay.
There we go. All right.
So, the next morning, Noctua,
Yes.
you open the door, come outside. You have the same experience as last night, or I guess yesterday, where you woke up in Sasha's little shack, despite not going to sleep there.
And I imagine I was alone. Everyone else was kind of like already out and about.
Yes.
All right. Well, all right. I'm going to take some steps out then.
You noticed something.
Oh.
The boat's back.
He kind of steps forward, nods his head again, pats it. He kind of steps on over, running his handle on a boat. This isn't supposed to happen, isn't it?
I mean, we all dragged it back up here a little earlier.
Oh, okay. It didn't reset.
She tilts her head.
I thought like I came back, and so the boat came back too. You know, like
What?
He kind of like puts his 2 fingers to his forehead. Okay, I slept in the inn again, and I ended up back in your shack. So I was curious if the boat just kind of came back, but if you carried it, good job. He pats on the head.
I was wondering where you went. I'm really glad to see you. The boat's in a lot worse shape now. There's so many fucking jagged holes in it.
Well, we might not need it much longer if that other boat is offshore.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
He kind of contemplates that for a little bit. So, Sasha,
Yeah,
are you ready for the hunt?
yeah. Our team's gonna win.
Oh, I wish you luck. After all, you'll be hunting the greatest hunter in all the lands.
Oh, yeah. Oh, are you talking about, are you the greatest hunter in the lands, or is the dragon the greatest hunter in the lands?
He's like, I think that remains to be seen.
You say, looking off ponderously as a few people walk down the dirt path.
See them. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
He kind of steps on up with Sasha then and just kind of takes a look. So then, now, today's a busy day, but let's start it rightly. He kind of moves on ahead and then points over at Sola. Right then, let's make this quick. We've got busy things to do after all, so I think I'm probably gonna start heading on. Let's see, Dirks. Which way did the red one go? North or south?
North.
I could go after the red one, but I've already proven my might against that one.
Sola cracks her shoulder and says, "This'll be over before you know it."
Absolutely.
Why don't you two flip a coin or something?
That could be all right. Sola, do you have a preference?
Do you have a
Would
coin?
you rather No, I don't actually don't.
I have a coin.
All right, yeah.
I made it just for this occasion.
Yeah, you can see Lexi about to open his mouth like, where did you get a coin?
Silver God holds out a hand, and there's a basically like it's this almost like piratey looking coin. On each head is a spiraling dragon biting its own tail.
Oh, he got to stop a
Oh.
bit. No, Silver God, what would you have done if we didn't want to flip the coin?
I would have kept it as a souvenir. Maybe given it to the winner. Honestly, there's lots of things you could do with a cool dragon coin.
He just kind of like watches it then. Well, flip then.
By the way, winner still can get it if you want. Okay, here we go. Let's go with who am I calling for first? Looks at Sol or Noctua.
Well, they're
Is this a heads or tails thing?
Well, they're both
are the heads on both sides. They're different. How do we tell the difference?
I can tell the difference.
All right.
Who's going first? Come on.
I'll go first.
Okay. Flip. You'll be dealing with the Crimson Dragon.
Oh,
Looks
yeah.
for Noctua, and you'll be dealing with the Azure Dragon.
Seems that fate has decided my decision is correct then.
Isn't that just wonderful when things work out like that? Okay. Wishing both teams luck. I'll be sitting by and watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, turns over. Well, you three, good luck. We'll see. We'll see how fast I can get this. I still need to do my stretches after all. Perhaps I'll give you that head start.
Yes, perhaps in the meantime we can discuss how exactly we agreed to go after a dangerous monster with a small child. Looking at Sola.
Oh,
Come
I'm sure.
on. It's because it's cool. You're cool, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna go after it.
it. I am not what you think cool means.
Well, I mean, think about it this way. Sol's got the right of it. If she was going to go after it anyway, because it's a big dangerous creature on the island, and like, what if they decided to attack us when we were sleeping or something? So we're going to fight it and scare it away, right? Looks over at Sol. No.
Let not evil lie unpunished in your reach.
Yeah, I like to learn as I go. So, like, if you just want to stand back, that's fine.
I'm probably gonna stand back.
Smart.
Yeah, like she will be standing back. Yes.
Noctua has begun doing his morning stretches.
Sasha moves over and starts to stretch too.
Sola stretches her arm, accidentally dislocates it, and like whoops, and pops it back in.
Yeah, Silver God moves over and assists with that. Every single time you do something gross with your limbs, they're just like, oh, neat. Yeah, Sasha's attempting to do the poses next to you, Noctua.
Mm-hmm.
Limited range of motion. Like you've been doing this literally for like, I don't know, how many years at this point? Like 50 plus.
Actual decades, yeah.
Actual decades. So you are extremely loose. You're able to stretch, touch your toes, do all that stuff. Sasha has never stretched in her life before, so it's like, yeah. Arm behind back, does that. Twists very slowly.
All right, hang on. He kind of reaches over and helps like show some of the stretches off to Sasha. Another one of those things you got to practice at, but after you get it good, you'll be able to stretch all over the place, even with such muscle like mine.
Sasha is able to stretch all over the place.
Oh,
Look
shit.
at that.
Holy fuck. Showing proper form, she embraces limberness.
Yeah, you settle into helping Sasha out how to stretch, and like you hop up behind her and you're like, okay, do this, that, and the other thing, and her fucking like her fucking springy dandelion flower person muscles, just immediately she starts like bouncing on her feet, getting into all the various stretches, and then she looks like psyched, invigorated. She's fired up and ready for this.
That's the power of the stretching. It gets you fired up, gets your soul limbered up as well. Don't you feel like you can take on a dragon now?
My soul feels like he could fight a dragon.
Well, good, because you're going to. You gotta pass her in the head. Sola, you should stretch too.
Yeah, meanwhile over here, Silver God is holding a severed arm.
I don't even know how that happens.
What did you do?
We don't honestly know. Like gesturing with it. Huh. Well, does the new one feel better?
I'll tell you in a second. She's waiting for it to pop in.
Lexi, give me a stretch while Sola's getting ready.
Oh, there it goes.
Too late, I guess.
So Lexi, while you were getting, well, Sasha was trying to watch you stretch. You could know what you didn't notice this because you instantly saw it and started correcting her. But Lexi was absolutely studying what you were doing and was clearly about to go, yes, Sasha, you should do it more like this. When you immediately jumped in and did it for him. So he's now just kind of hovering back, looking awkward and slightly put out. And you don't know why.
And seeing him not really attend to the stretching, he kind of continues on and just like, all right, okay. He kind of cedes over, whispers, Sasha, don't try to do what Sola does. That's pretty bad.
Meanwhile, Silver God's just using, like, as Sola's starting to stretch, Silver God is using the severed arm to point to different parts on her body. Like, oh yeah, stretch more over here, poke. Slings it over his shoulder and walks over to you guys.
I've asked you before not to use them like that.
Fine, you're right. Whips it into the woods.
I always wonder what happens to those.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I'll watch
He kind of looks a bit and is like, oh my goodness. I don't know if I can do this by myself anymore. He gotta scratch his chin. There's a fiery spirit in front of me. And, well, this is the soul of someone who can take on a dragon. He pats on Sasha's head. I might need some help after all. He steps over and pats Lexi on the back very, very lightly this time. I'll take Lexi if that's all right. I could use some help.
You're stealing my team?
I'm stealing your team. 2 on 2. Doesn't that seem a lot more fair? Especially with 2 fiery souls in front of me.
Yeah!
I need a fiery soul myself.
One really should be watching Sasha.
Hey. Sola's got it. All right, Sola? And Sasha's got it too.
I've got it.
It looks at Sola and the face just like, no. Looks at Sasha with the giant starry eyes full of fire and it's just like, fuck. Yeah.
Silver God rolls up and immediately slinks behind the 2 of them. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on both of them. I'll make sure. Looks at Sola, looks at Sasha. I'll make sure this one doesn't come to harm.
Thank you, but I think just with Sasha on my team, we're already a shoo-in.
Yeah!
But Buttering just sort of... He is clearly outnumbered.
We don't have time to mutter, my friend. We must go quickly.
Bye,
Come
Lexi.
Let's
Bye,
go.
Lexi.
You're getting dragged along by this man. But be careful. Remember to.
Come on now, focus forward, my friend. If we
Silver-
finish ours off first, we might be able to stop them.
Silver God starts to walk up past you, puts a foot on the planter, hops up onto the roof, climbs this tower, and then just sits.
Let's go. Have a fun show.
So, you guys go on your separate directions. Now, you'll basically chase both of the dragons across the island until you meet an ideal interception point.
Okay.
As a result, Sasha and Zola are going to encounter theirs well before you,
I see.
and you guys will have a chance to talk as you walk, in fact. I'm really glad you did that, Christian.
Me too!
Let me...
Gotta confirm that. Out of character, I'm thrilled.
Acquiring
no
Lexi.
problem.
Acquired.
I have acquired parchment.
So, Sully, you wind up chasing this creature across the island, through the woods, and eventually you wind up on the beach as it starts to circle past.
Ooh.
Let's go for... Yeah, let's do this one. Whirling through the spray, this gigantic, just gorgeous beast begins to emerge, cresting out of the water, its crimson almost mismatched with the ocean spray. Grab your dragon. The crimson dragon emerges from the water, now completely ripped apart from its pair. Its body arcs up and looks at you. One eye.
Oh, this looks sad. So she
Beat
runs
it up!
here. She's like, "Oh, I'm glad I left the surfboard over here." Grabs it and just starts to run forward with it. And do I have to roll to die?
Yes.
Okay.
You do have to roll to die. Everybody is. Oh, very nice. And then it.
Okay. Sola runs forward with the surfboard. She's like, "Hey, Sasha, watch this." Runs up the side of the dragon and whacks it over the head with the surfboard.
Okay, give me a roll. In this case, it would be a clash. Oh boy!
Oh,
so you run up and the dragon. Oh wait. Okay, that's fine. So you wind up running up the side of the dragon, and its entire springy serpent-like body, now separate, manages to arc around you and it begins to fucking crush. You take 7 damage, so you'd be at 23 now.
Wait, Sasha, look away, look away.
Sasha does not look away. She is fired up. Sully, you can do it! Take another turn.
Okay.
Holy
Oh my god!
It arcs and sends you flying backwards. You slam into a rock, the wind getting knocked out of you. That'll be a solid 14. Oh my god! She runs over. The dragon arches forward, and it begins to try to snap at you, but you notice it's almost moving a little bit more slowly. Having been ripped apart, it can't quite close the distance. Meanwhile, elsewhere, let me hop over here. You guys are probably going to see clones of yourself for a second. There you go. You two are enjoying a nice walk.
Oh, I see.
I'm enjoying it's like Lexi is standing next to you, constantly looking over his shoulder, going, I know the Silver God said that she was going to keep an eye out, but frankly, the Silver God watching for someone does not necessarily guarantee their safety. A Silver God is more interested in exciting than...
Lexi, you're hitting the back of the head with a pebble.
Yeah.
It like hurts a little bit.
Yeah, Lexi takes 14 damage.
Yeah. Like, Lexi, you probably take a damage. It's like whack, and then you see just something, a figure you can barely make out, crouched like a gargoyle on top of the little tower on top of Sasha's house.
Needlessly vindictive.
She can hear you.
That's why I said it loudly.
Okay. Okay. Lexi,
Yes, talk to her.
are you
I apologize.
are you doing okay?
I am. I am concerned.
Yes, you seem like you're about to burst into flames.
Oh God! He looks around like back at the silver god.
Metaphorically speaking.
Oh, I apologize. That is something of a
Poetically, yes.
literal risk. With yes.
Ah, yes. I can't think of anything more stressful for you, which is why I said it, because you are He kind of keeps walking for a moment. Is everything okay? You seem rather concerned.
Fine. I have not seen Sasha in a little while. I have. It has been somewhat isolating, having only myself and no one to instruct. She is quite gifted. She is quite an enthusiastic learner.
Yes, she is. He kind of looks and turns a bit there. You've done a good job teaching her already. Though you have me, I tell you now I know very little about the things you seek to teach. If you'd like, you can instill me with knowledge as well. After all, I didn't know about all that poetry.
Oh, Tenrec poetry is absolutely fascinating. Many of the cultural distinctions of Tenrec have not appeared to be emulated in any of the cultures the others have told me about. But he kind of like trails off. I had assumed you would not have an interest.
He kind of thinks about that a bit. Why?
Well, you are quite an. You are enthusiastic. You are active. You are
yes,
a warrior.
Those are not the. He kind of scratches his head. Are not those the qualities that make a good learner?
Oh, not at all. It's simply that well, you get on along quite well with the Silver God, with Sola, and I apologize. Neither of them have particularly been interested in any of the more academic matters.
You asked them and they weren't interested?
Yes, well, Sola is enthusiastic about herbs specifically, but of course my knowledge is limited to those native to Tenrec, and those are not similar to anything around here. And as for the plants here, she is much more adept at gathering and analyzing them on her own already, so I am not particularly needed.
He kind of so yeah, he's kind of like looking, waiting for you to continue on though. All right, and
for the Silver God, well, I thought perhaps I could lend some use of myself there by going over some of the production methods that the artisans and craftspeople would use that perhaps they would find interesting, but my method of relaying such information appears to bore the shit out of them.
Oh, okay, I see. He kind of like stops a bit. And then he pounds his fist against his hand. Right then, he sits down on this chest. Teach me. We have plenty of time.
Are we not? Do you not wish to engage in the competition?
Ha! No, of course I do. But again, we have plenty of time. That blue dragon should not be much trouble.
He hesitates. What would you like to learn?
He kind of thinks a bit about that. What would you like to teach, I suppose? It sounds like you've been starved for teaching. After all, What have you been trying to teach Sasha?
Oh. Well, we've been focusing primarily on practical matters that would be more conducive to her safety. How to how to obtain resources in an unknown environment. How to test for materials and growths to ensure that they are healthy before consuming. Oh, mostly survival matters, but she has an enthusiasm for legends. But
he kind of smiles and nods his head. That she does. That's much I've been able to help with teaching.
I rather noticed.
Oh,
My,
he kind of stops a bit. He
Lexi's
kind of
not-
he kind of leans down a bit, putting one hand on his knee. Now, Lexi, you wouldn't be concerned about me stealing your job, would you?
A man who is also a book. He's remarkably easy to read. He fucking starts at that and is like, I don't know what you mean. I don't have a job here per se. I am making do with teaching Sasha because knowledge is needed there, but
That's more semantics. You like doing it, correct? Oh, Mask, did you cut
Mass,
out?
did you cut out?
am I still here?
Yeah,
you're
you've
here
been
now.
you've been a little choppy.
I think it might be your mic sensitivity.
Yeah, or something.
Crap.
Like, he's
It's
he's just a little scholarly talking like this, so that it's probably gets a little low.
a little.
Okay,
choppy.
okay. Let me try and get a little closer. Sorry about that.
No
That's
problem.
cool.
Let's see. Advance. Noise reduction. Turning this. Do I want the. Okay, yeah, it says turning this off may help. Do I want that turned off?
Right?
Yeah. Okay, it's off. How's that sounding?
We will find out once you once you talk a bit more, I think.
All right. Sorry about that.
It's
No
cool.
problem.
It wasn't a problem until that exact moment, and we called
Yeah.
it out instantly. So I'm just literally gonna cut.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
No,
let me
literally
give
no
you a
problem.
good let me give you a good point to try and cut back into then. So Lexi has kind of been hesitating there for a bit, like he's not quite sure. Like he has this uncertainty and he has this puzzlement, and you can tell that it's really bothering him. Well, if I were to, I am sorry, I've not had this particular experience before. And it appears to be too subtle for me to have any reference to appropriate behavior in this situation. This is the look of a man who is trying to assemble his Legos and has lost the manual.
He kind of thinks a bit. Well, I can't piece together what you're going to say until you say it, so...
I do not think Sasha needs me.
He kind of thinks about that. Well, that would be the goal, isn't it? To get Sasha to a point where she doesn't need any of us?
Oh.
He kind of nods his head.
Deflates, and he kind of like puts his face, like puts his hands on his face a little bit. Is that the goal of guidance? Is that? Oh, there. Of course, there is an end point, isn't there?
He nods his head.
No child is dependent on their caretakers forever.
He nods his head again.
Then there is an end point. to my
He-
usefulness.
He kind of stands up and kind of goes up. As a teacher, yes. Though if you do appreciate being her friend, then your usefulness will never cease.
Lexi's Lexi does not cry, obviously. That would be
It'd be pretty
difficult
dangerous.
for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
But the skin parchment around his eyes is crinkled in distress.
Mm.
I am a teacher. I am a collection of knowledge. I learn and then I teach that what I have learned, and that is my place in a community. But my community here is only Sasha.
He kind of looks at that again.
And he looks
Well.
at his hands. I have
Well, is-
been selfish, haven't I?
He kind of thinks about that a little bit. I don't know you well enough to say that much. It seems like you really want to share knowledge. Only problem is that Sasha's really the only one here who's willing to listen. Well, except me. After all, I do want to learn some things too. But that's the reason we're trying to get out of here, isn't it? It's the reason that she should leave as well. It's not enough people here for... Not enough people here for you, or for her, or really for me. He kind of thinks a little bit more about that. So, he kind of like, your usefulness to one person may cease. Though there is always more people in the world, there's always a need for teachers and knowledge.
When I return to Tenrek, I will have that place again. I don't know why he looks at his hands, he looks into the distance. I don't know why I hadn't thought of that.
He kind of thinks of it too. It's easy to get caught up in the moving, the moment. It's probably the best way to hide pain. So if you're feeling that pain, well, I think you're able to take it now, right? After all, you're able to come to that recognition by yourself. You should be fine enough after you're out of here.
He just keeps looking at his hands, and you can see that there's like characters just under the surface scrolling along them. And he looks confused and a little frustrated, and yes, of course.
Noctua kind of like screws his eyebrows up a bit, and he's thinking, Lexi, you don't,
Yeah.
this is just a far-fetched thing. You don't think you're not exceptional, do you? You recognize why you're exceptional, correct?
He looks completely taken aback by that. I mean, I have a specific function that I enjoy and that I am quite good at. It is a way of supporting, but
Yes, that's... He kind of stops a bit. Oh, you... He kind of... Ha! Oh, okay. Sorry, You should find more pride in what you do, Lexi. You do it quite well, and you've benefited Sasha quite a lot. After all, she seems to have already learned quite a lot from you. She considers you a friend. If that's not enough to make you happy, then you need to find the happiness inside of yourself as well. Find your own pride. Understand?
yes, I believe so. He looks at you again after a minute, and he goes, I think I am facing things I have not learned before, and it is frustrating me.
He kind of nods his head. I can see why that's frustrating. I guess that's the struggle of a scholar, then. After all, that'll be your fight, is learning those things. But you've learned a lot before. Nothing's gonna stop you from doing it this time, right?
I hope not. But it seems that there are... I suppose what I'm frustrated by is that I cannot learn it. I am not learning these things as simply as other information. That is, because it is so personal, that feels like a failing.
He kind of thinks about that a little bit too. Oh, are you afraid to fail then?
Fucking silence for a few seconds, and then he says, I don't know. He looks a little frustrated, like, no, this is, failing to teach is failure to teach, it will occur but if both teacher and student continue to make the effort, it will happen. So what is this? Shakes his head. No, it is... Perhaps this is something simpler after all.
He kind of thinks about that.
He turns to Noctua, and then he looks right at you, and he says, I believe I am frustrated because you can teach Sasha the things that I do not understand, and that seems to be both what she wants, and if I cannot be the one to teach her, then it is what she needs.
Oh, I see. He kind of starts nodding his head a little at that. Well then, better pay attention to me then and start learning. After all, even if Sasha doesn't need it, you do. Someone else might later. So, don't quit at that. Besides, you quitting at learning would be like me quitting at fighting. It'd just be a little too sad. He kind of stops heading off in this way.
Oh, you start to walk away. Having said your incredibly cool thing, in fact. You were, by the way, congrats on being on fire. That was fucking great.
Oh my god, yeah.
You start to walk away as you start to hear something. A somewhat surprising call, actually. Oh no, they beat theirs already and they're hanging out and talking!
Noctua stops for a moment. He kind of
You were so fast.
What?
I'm afraid not. He kind of steps forward. We haven't beaten ours at all, actually.
What?
It seems the blue one is the soul of a coward. We've been searching around for a while and finally stopped to gather our thoughts.
Sasha's like, oh, I think that means we won. Looks over at Sola and smiles. Minutes earlier.
Like Noctua, like, is that what we're doing?
Minutes earlier. This fight was still happening. Give me
Not fair! You guys did a combat encounter while we were in a cutscene.
Yeah. give me a fresh set of roll to dice at the start of a turn, and something starts to happen to the creature. Actually.
Okay.
Good God. Okay.
Holy.
Do that. Okay.
So says to Sasha. So remember what I said about just running in and just learning about the enemy?
Yeah.
All right, so now's the part where we retaliate. What do you want to see, Sasha?
I want to see you. I want to see you punch that thing.
Okay.
Wait, she stops, and then pulls out your spear and hands it to you. you beat that thing with this so I can learn how to do it.
Alright.
Ah.
Can do.
You go in, or are you gonna try to stab it?
Oh yeah. Sola actually climbs up the rocks right here.
Yeah.
And she's like, alright, we're gonna body slam this.
Okay.
She-
Roll to do. Okay. Okay. Narrate away. You win the clash.
Okay. Sola climbs up the rocks and just kind of like lets loose a gargled scream and goes flying through the air. It's kind of remarkable, and like does a little flip and then slams down on top of the creature.
You like carry it to the ground with your full weight, and it impacts against the beach, sending up a wave of like sand and salt. It's going to attempt to, well, it loses its swing first of all. Then it's going to attempt to retaliate as well. Give me a roll to die versus this. Oh, the polarization of Dragon. And you basically stab it to the ground and carry it down with even more force, dealing that's 30 damage so far. And then Sasha yells, "Come on, hit it again! Use the surfboard!" And she throws you the surfboard.
Oh.
Sola catches the surfboard and then spins it around like a pizza on her hand, and then gaining momentum and centrifugal force, and grabs the end of it and just whacks it like right at the neck.
Okay, give me a roll to do. Good God. Holy crap, you whack! Hit it over the head. It goes limp. It takes a wound. It lies there for a second and then starts to shake itself off. Its power sort of growing. Its color shift into that final purple stat that it would have used. Okay, start of the round, reset. And something happens to it again. You notice it like almost moving a little bit more sluggishly. Like it's sort of lurching, and that can't just be from the damage you've dealt to it. You start to realize what's happening. This thing, in that opening round, fulfilled one of the conditions required in order for you to successfully poison the creature. Currently running through its veins is enough poison to make it sleepy and confused. It is taking not only damage, but a huge penalty to its swing as a result. Sasha, furthermore, is going to... She gets increasingly hyped up. God, all these extra turns. The beatdown.
Oh,
she's getting extremely excited. You feel that passion start to ignite within her. Give me a go.
Okay. Sola sees it start to slow down. She's like, oh yeah, that's also why I like to run in. And just take care of it. If they get me first, then I'm pretty much gonna win. She goes... Oh, go ahead.
Let me go for that roll to die versus your roll to do. And then you can narrate away. Narrate away!
She picks up the spear again. She's like, hey, you liked this one, right?
Yeah!
Alright, she's like, alright, let's finish it off. And then she stabs down with it.
You stab straight into the creature. It lets out yet another howl. And then Sasha yells, yeah, finish it off! Give me another go. It's purple, but you're yellow, so the one color it won't target, okay? And do me a favor. You guys have leveled up Sasha's bond enough? Add a 3d6 to that total.
Okay.
Just do roll 3d6.
Oh, I see rolling to the... Okay.
There you go. So yeah, add 9 to that, and then... Yeah, you just... Tell me how you kill it.
So as she stabbed it down and it starts to go down, she gives it a huge kick, like right under the chin, and sends it like flying back into the water.
It splashes and slowly submerges. Sasha lets out a gigantic clap and a cheer. Oh my god! That was so cool! She
Sola
runs up and
turns
hugs
around
you.
and bows.
You bow and Sasha's hugging you the next second.
That was exciting.
That was really, really, really cool. How did you? She thinks. Can I see the spear for a second?
Yeah, she hands it over.
Sasha takes the spear, and then she tries to climb on top of this box, and then she hops down, like stabs it into the ground.
Whoa, you look just like me.
Flashback to you leaping off of this rock cliff and impaling a dragon.
That's like watching a replay. I look.
She flashes you the biggest smile. That was really, really cool.
All right, now let out a warrior scream.
Ah!
You got it.
Sola, you look over, you hear someone laughing uproariously on top of a building nearby. Like,
How'd you like the show? She yells over.
You don't hear her yell back, but you get the intent. Silver God's awful and is absolutely talking in a normal human voice. It's just like, yeah, it was pretty cool. You hear none of that, but you're just like, yeah, I know how this person works.
She just gives some thumbs up in response. Like, yeah, I get it.
Oh, I wonder if we won.
Oh, let's go find out.
Let's go find out. And in the present. Oh, I guess, well, we killed ours really fast.
Yes, you did. With incredible speed, actually.
Yeah, it was, Sola did like a jump, she play acts it as she does it, and then threw it in the ocean, and then I wasn't even in danger. It got like it bit her, and then it's just like gesturing with her hands.
Like I said, head first.
He kind of thinks, well, if ours was the soul of cowardice, yours must have been the soul of bravery. You got the lucky one. You got to fight a real good fight by the sound of it, Sola.
It was really cool.
Well, if you haven't seen yours yet, let's all go after it.
Yeah, I guess we could go all as one group now, couldn't we?
Yeah, let's go.
The competition's done, but there's a job left unfinished.
Unless you want me to just watch.
He kind of thinks about it. Maybe.
Alright, yeah, I'll be a spectator. How about that, Sasha?
That sounds nice. I want to see you guys fight. I want to see what you can do, Lexi.
Right.
Oh, of course.
Let's go then.
Yes.
Hey, came for a close-up?
Yeah. That's all they offer you. You guys walk up and go deal with the other dragon. Love these goobers.
Love them so much.
There you go. You come to the first field that you first encountered them. This one is circling overhead and refusing to get close. You know where it is. The issue is bringing it down. It's
Noctua pulls out his bow and arrow. It seems it's gotten a little comfortable. He stops and turns over. Now, Lexi, can you do anything particularly interesting in a fight?
Oh my, that is quite a large creature. Oh my. Oh,
Let's make it this big. It's up in the air.
But well, I'm looks at Sasha, who's like, I can support you.
Excellent. That's all I ask. After all, he kind of stops, pulls his bow up, and notches an arrow again. I've got a show to put on, so help me make it rather fantastic for our guest, wouldn't you? He raises his bow up, and then starts pulling back to fire an arrow at it.
Zola pats the rocks and just says, "All right, let's take a seat."
Pops up there. Everyone piles up.
So, should I roll to die or?
You should.
All right.
You gotta roll to die first. This thing ain't paying attention to you.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, that looks like it's gonna be. Let me look at. Yeah.
Okay. That's fun.
I'm gonna lock in blue or yellow
Ooh,
because I'm gonna
Hey,
shoot it
Noctua.
while it's not paying attention to me. Yeah.
remind me, in your Noctua's wheel of rock, paper, scissors, what's beneficial for you to attack while you're yellow?
It's good for me to attack blue, which he is.
Oh, that's convenient. So,
Oh yeah, you can pull some nasty business actually.
if you want to let Lexi go first, he can try and help you out a little bit there.
Okay. Well, let's see how next Lexi can help me then.
All right, Lexi's kind of looking at you, and he looks at you like get into your stance, and then he looks thoughtful, which is presumably what he does when he's referring to information he's got on hand. And then he says, and then he takes careful aim at the dragon up ahead and says, "I cannot harm it, most likely, but perhaps I can help your odds." And he's going to shoot out a sheaf of paper and try to catch the dragon with it.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Give me a roll. Give me a roll to do. Excellent. Or yeah, sorry, you give me a roll to do. Yes.
Whoops, did I hit roll to die? I
Yeah,
did.
it's
Yeah.
Roll to do.
excellent.
Ooh.
Okay,
There
tell
we
me what happens.
All right. So this piece of paper has like some of the characters you're used to running along Lexi. It seems to be very simple, just like a couple of them over and over again. And as it impacts the dragon, it kind of like dissipates into dust that like go across the dragon's eyes, and the dragon kind of like fucking responds to it. It kind of seems to catch the dust in its eyes and become a little, not quite hypnotized, but its posture changes, and you see that that Lexi's kind of making it's almost like the stance that Lexi's making is reflected in the dragon a little bit. Like the dragon hasn't become any different, but somehow Lexi has adjusted it to be in a slightly different, to change its state ever so slightly, to be a little more vulnerable, or
Gotcha.
at least to you in this case. The dragon
Gotcha.
is now blue, in
Forced
case
to
it wasn't
blue.
before.
Yes, it was not before. It had not like basically this thing's just chilling out. It was currently wild. You forced it to blue. Excellent. Noctua, go.
All right. And now, after it getting surprised, I'm going to continue through with my surprise attack while it's not expecting it. A cheap blow before the fight begins.
Ah.
Ah ha ha. And I'm going to add on one of my free die. Actually, I'll do the heart too because I'm working on this with Lexi, so I'm gonna fire 2d6s at this for this attack.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, this'll deal a substantial amount of damage. I believe that's 8, 6, 14. So, you spear up into the creature, striking it in midair. Almost shocked, it starts to sort of tip and arc to the side, slamming down into this set of rocks with a screech. Noctua's wheel activates. Go again.
All right. Actually, my second attack is going to be the way I shot it. It's going to be trying to get that thing to drop and almost impale itself on the rocks.
Ooh, okay, yeah, give me a roll.
All right, let's just see how that goes.
Okay. Does it beat that? It does not. So it slams, slamming itself into the. It slams itself into the rocks, its full weight, and gravity driving itself into a particularly sharp one. It lets out a screech. Is 8 damage now. Okay. Start of the new
Oh,
round.
it sounds quite upset now.
Oh, good. Maybe it won't run away again. He winks.
Okay, start the new round, reset.
He's confused, like nods, like I have no idea what we're talking about.
All right. Roll the dig.
Okay.
Alrighty,
So-
I'm locking that yellow again.
Its essence once again recombines, creating a purple stat. Noctua's wheel will not
Ooh.
interact with it.
Oh, do I know that before I get to pick, or?
Yes, I'm gonna let you know that ahead of time.
Alrighty, in which case I will change that around a bit then. I'm gonna pick up blue now instead.
Okay. Alexion, however, your stuff still interacts exactly the same.
Ah,
Excellent. So let's see. It's for yellow you want to hit blue. So I'm assuming that for red you want to hit yellow.
yes, that will be the way it works.
That's
Nice.
very convenient. Lexi was waiting to pick his swing till after you picked yours.
Nice.
And he's gonna
Nice.
try and do the same thing again. He looks like
Oh,
he's been
I
studying.
believe you chose blue, right, Noctua? Not red, correct?
I did choose blue, yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I chose blue as my color for this turn, right?
Yes.
That's what you mean? Yes, yes I did.
Oh
Yeah.
no, that was on me. That was on me misreading that. My
Yeah,
bad.
it's no problem.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
so-
red that you
Wanna-
gotta switch to.
If you wanna pick something else.
Yeah, no, he's intentionally picking the. Sorry,
Oh,
my
yeah.
bad.
There you
No.
go.
All right, now okay. That changes the flavor text. He's carefully studying the dragon this time, and he's gonna try and connect with it and try and send some of that desire for learning into it.
Ooh, excellent. Okay. So in this case, it is purple, so this would be a clash. Just-
Good luck, Lexi.
Good luck, Lexi. Oh, Lexi.
We'll see how I interact with dice.
Oh.
Yes! You have
Oh
it
my God!
exactly.
Oh wait,
So-
yeah, no, I read it the other way around. No, cool.
Oh boy. So yes, Lexi, take it away.
All right. His eyes kind of like you see him send out like characters without any paper to carry them, and it's like it's more like a concept, like this question of what does this mean? And as it interacts with this dragon, you see like this same desire reflected in its eyes, albeit ever so briefly, and it is coaxed into its red. And Lexi has once again set it up for you to be vulnerable to you in your current stance.
Nice. Alrighty, in which case, having it set up, it wants to learn, so I'll teach it. Teach it my power, that is. I'm going to start moving up. He goes with 2 arrows in his hand. One he notches immediately and fires directly at the beast while he's moving.
Okay. You get it,
Firing that
obviously.
shot off, it pierces straight into the dragon, but he does not stop his momentum in running. And at this point, he slides, going almost directly underneath the monster, his foot impacting the rock while he aims directly up and fires a shot straight up through the neck,
Oh boy. Okay.
trying to
give me a
get pierce that thing right in the brain from underneath it.
roll. Okay. You managed to perform your 2 attacks, dealing a huge amount of damage to the creature. It lets out a roar and then is going to turn and prepare. It prepares to fire another one of those spear-like objects at you.
I see.
This is
We will
not a
clash.
clash. This is
Oh, we
not a
will not.
clash.
It is not a clash.
It's red. You're
Red,
blue.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Plus 3. Roll to die versus that.
I'm going to use my free evasion for the round.
Oh yes.
Nice.
Easy. Tell me how you dodge out of the way.
All right, so after he basically shot the arrow straight up at the thing, causing it to kind of recoil a bit, and he used that opportunity to kind of get back on his feet. So when the thing turns back around and tries to fire its spear straight down, Noctua has already kind of leaped on the rocks and moved around to the backside of it, preparing to leap up into the air when his turn comes.
Okay, excellent. Everybody reset.
All right. All right, let me roll the die and see what I get. I'll lock in yellow.
Excellent.
That means Lexi's gonna. Oh, he has to roll the die first. That seems important.
Yes. So yellow will not clash with the purple at all.
Yeah. But Lexi wants to go first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lexi, go first.
Let's take a shot on that 3.
Okay.
Once again, sheaves of paper up into the sky, and they like attempting to splap this thing on the face.
Okay. Splap away.
Slap away. Good luck. Oop, no slap.
No!
No?
Slap! One of those spears. This creature creates one of those spears again. And this time, as Noctua rises into the air, it misses. Almost like his path travels straight over, and the spear flies up, over, and arcs and slams into the ground immediately in front of you, Lexi, sending you flying backwards. Just this wave of dirt and rocks almost punching through you for a grand total of 7 damage.
Yup.
Yep, thank you. Okay. Noctua, go.
All right, so Noctua, I then leaping on the rocks. It sees this thing continuing to fire its icy spears, and reaching around, it kind of, while above its head, it uses that opportunity to move up, looking like it's about to clash with this thing. He kind of slips past, lands on its neck, and wraps his arm around it and with the bow and pulls the bow up. Placing his foot on the top of its snout and its bow on the bottom side, he's going to try to seal his mouth shut when the next spear comes out.
Okay, excellent.
Therefore, shattering the thing's mouth open.
Okay.
Let's
Give me
see.
a roll.
All right, I'm going to roll for this one, and I'm going to add my bonus d6s to this. I'm going to add all of them.
Oh boy, okay. So you'll be locked out of everything except one stat next turn.
Yep, yellow.
Okay.
And that is
So you deal a comical amount of damage. Describe to me how you shatter its mouth as you wound it.
as he pulls up, the ice spear was ready to come out, and he kind of snaps it shut like that. And unable to have the force to open its mouth, suddenly the ice spear shatters open the jaw, teeth skin and otherwise breaking out as the thing roars out in pain. Noctua then kind of tumbling off and falling onto the ground over here as the ice exploded basically in its mouth.
Yeah, this it lets out another roar, partially resting impaled, almost limbs broken. This thing's on the verge of death, but it's still going. Everybody reset.
Oh boy.
Violence. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Alright, let me roll one. Oh, I gotta lock attributes.
Yeah, you gotta lock some attributes out.
That?
Yep.
And now I get to roll the die, the greatest roll
Yes.
to die in all the land.
Still grinning violence. Oh
One.
my god. One.
Good. This is actually great. This is incredible.
Okay. Lexi, go first.
Okay, Lexi's gonna look at like Noctua and be like, "Do you want me to?"
Yes.
Seeing that Noctua's stance is a
Make
little
it.
unsteady.
Make it yellow.
Make it
Oh.
yellow. Okay,
I respect you.
I respect that. I respect you not making my boy clash. He has
Yeah.
so few hit points. This is the one you haven't seen him do before, and he kind of like takes it's almost a peaceful aura, and then he kind of opens his arms, and you see that connection of his gaze to the dragons, and he just says, "Teach me," and something connects the stars in his eyes to the dragon's singular eye, trying to impart that feeling of show me what you have to change to change it.
Excellent. Okay, give me that roll to do. You do so.
Fuck yeah.
It swaps over to yellow, letting out a roar. Okay. Noctua, it's your go.
Alright, I'm gonna go into clash with it then.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. Oh boy.
Yep.
Oh!
Oh boy! You go in to clash with it, and it manages to all on the verge of death, actually strike back. It slams its nose directly into you, and you go like sliding backwards across the ground, actually feeling like a bruise beginning to develop. You take 7 damage.
All right.
23. Okay. It's its go. It is going to now in a place, in a mind state it's not used to. It's going to drag itself forward furiously off of the rock, trying to follow up.
Nice. All right. I'm knocked out of yellow, right? Unless it wants to keep me there.
It's gonna keep you there. It wants to clash.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Oh fuck.
I see it does it? I would like
It
to
has-
clash too.
It has made a mistake. Tell me how this happens.
All right. So as it kind of starts coming closer, it's ready to, really get in the position there. It's going forward with this new furor that it doesn't understand and wants to explore by smashing my face in. Noctua kind of like scrambles back again, and secretly, from underneath these flowers, he reaches and pulls something out from earlier. It's an arrow that was hidden underneath the sunflowers that must have spread back when he hit the ground, and his quiver spread on the floor. So he immediately turns his retreat into attack as he quickly pulls that discarded arrow and fires it directly at him,
You strike
trying to shoot it right into the eye.
You strike it straight in the eye. It lets out a roar and still connected to the stone, unable to move. All of its appendages are shattered. It can't move anymore. It lets out one final roar and comes to a halt.
Nice.
Lying motionless. Someone starts to clap from over here.
Which one?
That's a good point. Solo, you
Solo's
clapping?
Solo's like whooping in chairs, like, that was bad. Looks at Sasha, that was bad. Ah.
That
Fucking
wasn't
death glare from Lexi.
that wasn't bad. That was really good.
Oh, thank you.
Here, Solo's like passing out meat skewers from somewhere.
Noctua collects his arrows
The
again,
fucking peanut gallery.
and he eyes this thing. Is this thing dying? Is it dead?
It's dying.
Noctua is going to go over and just try to kill this thing quickly.
You move up and you mercilessly end its life. You feel almost a sense of relief begin to spread from the creature.
He nods his head at it. At least I owe it for framing it as a coward. It's rather brave, after all.
Lexi is shuddering. He looks a little ragged, but he's just looking at this creature and fluttering, and he looks distressed and entranced, and
Something the matter?
I did not directly land the blow, but I have never ended something's life before.
I suppose that's something you've learned today as well. He kind of, thank you for the assistance. He kind of, nods his head at you again. You've got some adoring fans to address now. He kind of
Yes,
walks over. Not on time to win the contest, but still rather impressive, no? He kind of bows.
It was still really, really cool.
Solo
Good
hops
job,
down
Solo.
and she's like, complimentary meat skewer. Passes it to
Oh, thank you. You get the coin, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already thinking about how I'm gonna use it. She's she's thinking about like, oh, what if I like made an imprint on some bread with it or something, or did like some cookies, right?
That could be fun.
Silver God throws an arm around you, Sola, and sort of leans over, looking at Noctua. By the way, even if yours wasn't such a coward, rolls eyes, they were watching you. It was a matter of moments, but I do believe Sola actually finished hers first, regardless.
Yes. Fair.
You can't overstate the
Your
power.
speed. He kind of like, yeah, he'll let her talk.
You can't overstate the power of an adoring fan, I guess. Looks
suppose
over at
not.
Sasha, and she perks up.
I said I needed help after all. The spirit inside of that one sure did push you extra hard, didn't it?
Oh yeah, I really can't understand how big a help Sasha was.
She looks so happy.
Well, good job. Sounds like you would have beaten me anyways. You gotta pat Sola on the shoulder.
Ah,
I suppose we're
anytime.
about even now, since I won in the cave.
Holy shit, man.
Oh my god.
I don't know if we ever declared a winner there, but alright,
Well,
sure.
of course we didn't. The winner was obvious, wasn't it? Let's just settle on a tiebreaker another time.
Sola kind of like gives him a grinning side eye. If you say so.
Lexi just kneeling down a little bit to Sasha. What did you think of the battle?
I feel like I learned a lot. So the first one, the one that we fought, that was like that looked like it was gonna go really bad at first, but then it went really good, and like I think I learned to not, like, even if things look hopeless, don't give up. Because honestly, it might just turn around. Like, and she just rattles off like a bunch
Sola
of
ruffles her hat.
she's just excited, and like there's still adrenaline pumping through her, and she just rattles off various lessons she's rapidly synthesizing. Not all of them are correct.
Lexi's just fucking got this happy, pure smile as she's talking about what she took away from it. And it's like, you see these little moments of like his head as she goes like, and I also learned that surfboards are the most efficient weapon. And he goes, like, we'll discuss that later. But he's just so happy.
Oh yeah, you used the surfboard too. Good
Of
job.
course. You should see the way that thing spins.
Silver God looks over at Noctua. My blessing didn't come up though. That's a shame.
Yes, a bit unfortunate.
Hmm.
I'm afraid I. He kind of bows his head and like a bit sorrowfully. I'm afraid I simply relied on old blessings a bit too much. I'll need to switch it up a little bit for the next one.
My blessing's a little hard to grasp. It'll take you a bit, probably.
I didn't say that, but very well. I suppose it is a blessing worthy of Noctua.
Well, Silver God hands the coin over to, like, actually, no, this is the Silver God. They flip the coin dramatically to Sola.
Sola catches it with her teeth in a flourish.
Well,
Lexi's just like, why would you not use your hands?
should we?
I don't always have them.
I cannot argue this.
Well, what's next? Well, we gotta get to that ship, right?
Yes, we do. Time
Yes.
is of the essence. We should move
We
quickly.
should.
Roxy, can you help me get stuff ready?
Oh, of course.
Sasha's like, seems nervous to say it. If we're leaving the island, I want to make sure to bring everything important to me, you know?
Of course. Let us proceed methodically.
I cannot think of one better suited for a task than one who seeks to preserve knowledge. Preserving memories is, after all, also knowledge.
Lexi smiles at that, and he looks a little bit far away when you say that last part. But he smiles and returns to you and he says, "Thank you. I hope I can learn more from you."
Yeah, he kind of nods his head. I hope I can learn more from you too, Lexi.
If I have anything you need to learn, I would be happy to.
He just kind of nods his head.
Let's do head off. Silver God looks at the two of you. Well, why don't I let you two champs hang out? Well, I guess I've got some more stuff to prep or something. They think about it for a second. I'm going to... They almost seem to have a difficult expression for a second. If everyone's gonna be leaving the island soon, I want to make sure to give you something nice on the way out, so...
He kind of stops a bit. What did you say?
Oh, you won't be accompanying?
Looks around. Unlike you all, I don't think I have much of a choice in whether or not I stay or go.
Oh? He kind of looks a bit. Why, you're banned from Mitsurai and Raoji, correct?
Yes.
There not another world to explore out there? I can tell you there is. I've seen it myself.
There is. I'd love to explore the world and all that, but there is something tethering me here right now.
Oh?
Far be it from me to say stop, hang out with your old pal, the Silver God. But if you're going to be heading off of this island, that'll leave me in this predicament. So I'm going to give you at least a very nice parting gift.
He kind of thinks a bit. I would love a gift, though, parting on such terms. I don't think I'd be comfortable doing that quite so soon, especially to another one who gives me a blessing.
Well, in the immediate, you have a responsibility to, at the very least, see what's going on over there. And if Sasha wants to leave, put her on the boat. Ultimately, what you decide to do is up to you, but I'm going to make something nice for the kid at the very least.
Oh, please do, yes.
If you both decide to stay around, or if just one of you decides to stay around, their eyes fixate on you, Sola, for a second. I would certainly welcome the company. They walk forward and then give a very sassy, loose-wristed wave as they walk out. I'll be back in a few hours.
And thank you.
Soul looks a little perplexed.
Oh? What are you going to do then?
Well, she kind of looks around, taking in the surroundings a bit. I'll admit I wasn't in a rush to leave. There's so much to discover here, but I wanted to leave for Sasha and get her out there and show her the world. But it feels so wrong to leave someone here.
Yes, it does. He kind of just walks a bit back and then just kind of moves a bit. And he just sits back against the flowers a bit. To split our company so quickly sounds like it would be rather ill-timed. After all, he kind of stops a bit. This island is quite mysterious. I'm wondering if I would even be able to leave or if it would simply drag me back.
Hey, both of you, as you start to reflect on this idea, you start to share almost a certain emotion. Both of you, drop your swings and roll to die.
All right. Let me unlock my attributes.
There you go. Okay. Okay.
Oh, nice.
That's very fitting. Both of you got red as your highest. So yes, you share this moment. As everybody starts to walk away and you see how excited Sasha is at the prospect of leaving, you start to feel this sensation. It's something that you've experienced in the past. You're both travelers. You, unlike everyone else here, both understand what this sensation is. It's a feeling of a parting far too soon. Like given the chance to see someone, you know that time will naturally come to a close. You're both world wanderers after all. So after whether it's a week or a year or something else, parting is an inevitability in your life. And that feeling starts to well up inside you again. It's like saying goodbye on the docks, like waving goodbye to a town that you helped. This is a loneliness that can only be felt by wanderers, by adventurers, and by heroes. And it's almost impossible to keep down this feeling watching everybody excitedly walk away.
Noctua kind of stops and eats a tiny little chuckle. Are you feeling what I'm feeling right now?
I think I might be.
He kind of turns over a bit. You want to know why I was always a better champion than a wanderer?
What's that?
Because as a warrior, when I walk into a fight, I never fear the blows that come to me. And as a wanderer, my hearts can't be steeled for this every time. Some people are made for certain things, and I'm afraid I wasn't meant for wandering, yet that is my life. He kinda leans a bit. So, he sits up a bit and looks at Solo. You feel the same, or?
To an extent, yeah. I enjoyed going to new places and seeing new people and learning new things, but I don't do it in a way where I feel like I have to keep moving at a rapid pace. Being here, there's always just something new happening. I'm never really bored. I wouldn't mind staying here longer, and to be honest, if Silver God is still stuck here, I might stay behind.
He kind of thinks about that a little bit. See myself in a similar predicament. On one hand, leaving would be quite nice. I could begin my travels, though I must say, for me, I think it is the company that most excites me here. The challenges were great indeed, but a great challenge would lie in most lands. This is truly a miraculous one, though sharing it with others has increased its quality in my mind.
Yeah.
Though, stuck between a wonderful friend with eyes shining and a desire for being a champion, stuck with someone who strikes my heart with a fiery hammer. Again, I must make this choice, and again it frustrates me so. Oh, he kind of turns over. Sola,
Yeah.
what feel you about the Silver God?
Oh, well, I haven't thought about it too much. I mean, I am always excited when
So you have thought about it at least a little, then?
a little.
He pats his shoulder. They're quite attractive, aren't they? And they've got quite the attitude.
Yeah. I gotta say, like, I'm never really bored when they come around. In fact, I'm always entertained, and it's always fun. She's kind of like looking around.
Is your heart light a flame?
I could.
Do you feel love in the way that only mortals can?
Maybe she's like she's stammering a bit. She's kind of losing her composure. Did you have some water? Do you have water on you?
He pulls out a water skin.
Noctua.
Thirsty, aren't you?
Noctua, you, for the first time, it's been years since you've been able to actually talk to someone about matters of love in a way that's mattered, and you're like, God, I miss this! like Kato would be beaming ear to ear right now.
Yeah. It's memories of Kato that apply to this situation that also kind of fuel him forward.
Oh, that's...
As he...
Don't make it sad!
It's not. In fact, he's doing this because he wants it to be happy.
No.
In the thought of his mind, he feels this feeling kind of radiate within him, and he understands that, to a certain degree, he doesn't have to be too sad if he knows someone sticks here with them. After all, that's what made the first parting very painful.
Yeah.
But, in this case, he kind of just pats Sol on the shoulder. You know, if you stuck around, I have a strong feeling they would enjoy your company. Did you not see that look that they gave you just moments ago?
Yeah.
Did you not feel that fiery, passionate gaze?
Look, I'm honestly very confused. I mean, last night she goes, "Oh, I love you," and then turned around and kissed you. I was like, "What?"
Oh, yes, I can see that. Don't. That confusion is acceptable and understandable, even. Though, don't discount her love just because there is love for me too. In fact, I feel like you two might even have more chemistry than I do.
Oh, shucks.
No, shucks, simply the truth. He kind of thinks a bit. I would hate to leave them here, alone, to deal with this matter, with no one to, well, experience life with them, either as a friend, or perhaps more. He kind of thinks a bit. I know you'll miss Sasha as well, won't you?
Oh, yeah, of course. Honestly, it's a little hard to imagine daily life without Silver God just popping in.
Yes. He kind of thinks then.
Hey.
It's something I've grown a bit attracted to as well. Though, beyond my heart's attraction, I would say that my heart's love still falls with others as well. It's just strong, in different ways. Love takes many forms. I feel as though my friendship with Sasha, that has so formed so quickly, I suppose it's like a newly lit candle, and I would hate to see it extinguished so soon. That heart has so much more to burn, I would hate to miss it.
She looks up to you so much.
I know. And so parting so soon would feel too cruel. But, again, parting with the Silver God would, how I'd long. So, he kind of turns entirely to face you now and puts his hand out. Will you make an oath with me, Sola?
What's that oath?
If you would like to stay here and be with them, I will follow Sasha. And then both the people we care about will have no need to be lonely.
I think I can live with that, Solo.
And I think I could live with that too. He kind of grips her hand and gives a firm shake. This is what the people... Yes. But I suppose this is what the people in Imari do, is it not?
Yeah.
To rely on each other's strengths when they don't have it themselves. Well, I couldn't understand it as a fighter, but in this way I can understand them. So then. We should get to that boat. After all, you wouldn't want me lugging around here any longer, would you?
Yeah,
Get some more alone time, right?
Yeah, I was originally gonna go check on my goat, but getting that bomb dropped, I guess the goat's staying.
Yep. Another friend. I'm sure the Silver God will appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, with that goat around, I have cheese, I have, like, milk and butter. I can make so much stuff with that. It's a great quality of life thing. Great goat. Wonderful goat.
Yeah, he kind of stands up and pulls Sola up with the handshake fist. All right. So, if you would like, let us all meet up, finally at that point to head through the cave and get to the boat. If you like, you could spend some time with Sasha and them before this happens. I would like to spend some quality time with the Silver God before we all head out.
Yeah, I definitely want to go see Sasha for a bit.
Right then. Let us all meet again then. Soon enough at the entrance to the reef, correct?
Yeah. Oh shoot, Lexi's going too. She's scratching her head. Oh no, I gotta say bye to Lexi.
Well then, yeah, give both of them then. Give them big hugs.
Yeah, I will.
So, you both head out. You do whatever you were planning on doing, and
Yeah.
over time, moments pass on this island, and I didn't expect to do this so soon, so I need to get an icon really fast. So let's take a quick
let's
break.
take a little break.
Noctua. A few hours pass, like it's sort of midday at this point. And you just find yourself cooling off in one of your favorite spots.
The hot springs.
Yes, of course. And you think on this island where you're going to next. And exactly what that means. This moment has an air of finality to it. It feels like, to a certain extent, you've accomplished everything you want. That ship should be able to easily take Sasha out and into the world at large. Should be simple from here on out, right? But you look up and something continues tugging at you, and you're not sure what. And almost fluttering from the mist, you begin to hear a voice that you haven't heard in quite a while, actually, echo across your mind, and it's a whisper of something that existed in the past. Something that is clearly not real, yet over the last few years, it's been your constant companion. Something of a shadow. It's still lurking in your heart. Oh my, it's been so long since I've seen your heart so absolutely full. Plop.
Like a good meal after a long journey, right?
I guess. You seem full to bursting in that regard.
Filled to the brim, positively.
But a meal? A meal, I believe, is not meant to be regurgitated, now is it? And love, or matters of the heart, those are feelings that are best meant to be shared. A good meal, once you've consumed it, should ideally be kept down.
Yes, I suppose so.
All I'm saying is, this absolute...
My metaphor is bad?
No. I think it works. We can work with it. We can tease it apart a little bit. You've gotten much better with the poetry over recent years, I have to say.
Thank you.
If I could hear you now...
You would be positively stunned, now would you?
Mm-hmm. But, at the same time, if I could hear you now, like, the Noctua of this moment now, the my champion of this moment now, what would I say? This figure of smoke and mist almost hops in place, mixing in almost with the water itself. I think I'd say, in this moment, you are being given an exceptionally rare chance, a moment of pure stillness. Decide how you spend it, because a moment like this could so easily be your last. No regrets this time, okay? Those words echo out across the spring, and you get such a clear vision of it. One final moment. Pure regret. A moment of parting, driven into you by multiple spears, so many wounds that you couldn't possibly survive. A moment of pride that brought you low. A moment where you were deprived your very chance of saying goodbye. So, yeah. Those words resonate. Let's say, theoretically, right now, you were going to say your goodbyes to one person, or maybe even your hellos. Who would it be? You've got a little bit of time, and that's a luxury that we weren't afforded, so I expect you, as my champion, to deliver on that. Waste nothing, he says, floating back away in the pool.
How are you supposed to tell me something like that and say no pressure?
Well, there's plenty of pressure. I'm the greatest god to ever live. You have every responsibility to live up to my tremendous expectations, and the way that you can do that right now is by listening to what's going on in here. He pokes your chest. So share that meal. Regurgitate away.
Kind of touches his chest a bit, feeling a spot that nothing actually touched. Have I not been doing that this whole time?
You have. You've been doing a fantastic job, which is how I'm able to manifest like this. Hops up on the rock. But, in this moment, you stand at the precipice of a great decision. So, leave nothing out unsaid, okay? Every word that you're holding back, every last little bit that's just swirling around in that big heart of yours, let it out. Because if you don't, you know what happens. He hops back down. Those words might seem insignificant now, but they'll be hung around your neck for the rest of your life, if your chance to say them is taken away.
Right. I understand.
So, think about what those words are and who they go to. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to lend an ear to listen. I know I would have been.
Yes, of course. We'll give it some thought then.
Don't think. Thinking is one of your strong suits for sure, but thinking with this thing first once again pokes the heart. That is what makes you truly exceptional and worthy of an exceptional god.
Suppose so.
Hmm.
He kind of like waves his hand and get out of here. Pains me to hear you.
Oh, I'm aware. Sometimes a little bit of pain is good for the soul, though.
He nods his head.
Well, whoever you talk to, I'm sure they're going to be very, very lucky. Little jealous, after all. Starts to sort of float away. I'm watching. And as always, keep doing me proud, my precious champion. Smoke dissipates. Noctua, you're given a chance. In this moment, at least, you can share, like, let's say one final scene with one other character. Who you decide is pretty significant. Who's it gonna be? Who do you have things left unsaid that you still need to communicate to?
Well, in this way, Noctua made a plan and believed entirely he'd be able to do that.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that he talked to Lexi, talked to Sola, and got a moment to spend some time with the Silver God. But one person he hadn't talked to was the person that he thought he'd be able to spend at least decent more time with. And so, in that moment,
Yeah.
he has to kind of just think, well, what if I can't? What if something happens and it doesn't end like that? So, with that in mind, he's going to try to spend some time with Ansler. No.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
That's French forever!
That hit me like a truck.
He's gonna spend some time with Sasha.
Okay. I'm gonna put you on the beach map. Because of course I am.
Yes.
Oh boy, happy to hit you with that out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you back.
Yeah, you are. What I like is how much that ties to future stuff with Kato as well. And they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming. The tears. Okay.
Oh.
You managed to actually catch Sasha in a quiet moment. Lexi and Sol are doing most of the packing, honestly, at this point. After you finished spending time with the Silver God, they're just fucking off and doing something. You're not sure what, but Sasha was the easy one to sort of pick apart, despite being so doted on almost. In a moment like this, all of that parental energy from both Sola and Lexi seems to be dedicated elsewhere. Getting her ready, making sure she has everything she wants and everything she could possibly need. Lexi prepares all the various books and manuals she might need in her great journey abroad, despite planning on, coming with. And Sasha prepares, what she does best. Meat skewers, lots of food. Getting together lots and lots of food for the trip.
Yeah.
So, you managed to catch her practicing on the beach with Sola's spear, actually. There's a giant indent in the ground where the dragon once was. She slowly turns around. Hey!
He kind of looks and expects that. Oh, so that's where your fight happened, isn't it?
Yeah! She looks incredibly proud.
Good job. You did great.
Yeah, I wanted to fight myself too, but I didn't. I don't know if I could have heard it, so I decided to cheer Soul on instead.
Yeah. He said, "Oh, that's good. After all, still got a bit to learn. Starting with a dragon's quite crazy, if I'd have to say myself. Even I didn't start with that. I think my first fight was like a pig. Like not a boar, like a pig."
Oh, why were you fighting a pig?
He kind of thinks a bit.
She sits down on the ground.
I don't even remember. I can't. They're real ferocious. Honestly, about ferocious as that dragon. I could beat the hell out of that pig now, but at the time, that pig was a dragon in its own right.
You reflect back on so long ago, and at the time, that was a fight for your life, you believed. Now, fighting for your life is something that you're exceptionally used to, but at the moment, always that moment will stand out to you. You fought countless people, and you fought creatures that are far, far scarier than that pig, that have sort of bled from your memory. But that starting point is something you'll always keep in mind. Sasha thinks about that. You go.
Remembering that starting point, he kind of can't remember why too much. I think it was hungry. I think it was sneaking up on me. Well, I was sneaking up on it too. And the most important part was the fact that it was my first fight, and I can remember that part pretty clearly. I think amongst it all, it's why I think you're gonna think really fondly of this stuff, This is your first steps to adventure, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're right. The first thing I fought, first people I met, she thinks about it and she's smiling. Then she starts crying.
Yeah. He scoots over and wraps an arm around her and pulls her in for a hug. Hey, I'm sad too. It's okay. What's wrong? You can talk to me.
You said I was your first student, right?
Yep.
I don't know what happens next.
I don't know either. And that's the way life works, unfortunately. We don't know when things stop and when things continue. I don't know if things will keep continuing. Don't know how much time we'll be able to spend together. I would like to do as much as I can. Sometimes life has a way of being a little mean like that, though. Sometimes things get cut short. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we can't keep pushing forward in the direction we want to. The person a long time ago I talked to was named the god that I originally worshipped, the man I loved. His name was Kato, a grand, mighty god, a great warrior, though not known for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a great warrior, though not known for it. Instead, he was known for his love, compassion, his heart, his freedom, his ignorance and arrogance, and to some degree, his immense problematic passion.
Her head tilts.
But regardless, my love for him... even now, my heart still feels good when I think of that man. Also a little sad,
Why?
but I've not been able to see him for years. Part of me is waiting for the day to reunite with him, but another part of me believes that day will never come. This does not, however, distinguish the kind feelings I feel towards him. My life took me upon a path where I didn't get to see that man ever again, despite how much he means to me. And it does hurt quite a lot.
She starts crying more, honestly.
He holds her a little tighter. So, it's a little scary, isn't it? It feels bad,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
I don't like this idea that I might not see you again.
I don't like that idea either. That's why I wanted to talk. After all, the worst thing is leaving on a term where you have regrets. Thinking that, well, if I walk these days, if I walk forward, there's so many things I still want to say to Kato. So I want to make sure you hear all of them too, you know? All the things I want to say about Sasha. I want to make sure I hear all the things you want to say about me. Want me to start?
She, like, this... You get an almost... You almost get, like, a sensation from this person that, parting, that very concept, seems to be pretty difficult for them.
I'd understand why, yeah.
Yeah, but she's trying to be strong. Let me see. We're gonna see exactly how. Extremely. She bucks up and just quietly nods.
I want to know why you're really brave, Sasha.
She nods.
Well, I had to deal with parting once, and it was very painful. And to this day, you're still going forward and striving to do what you want to do. You're still getting excited, still doing great things, still seeking legends. You know, he kind of flexes his muscles. Need I even say how much my strength billows, how strong I am, how much of a legend I am?
She laughs and nods.
I think it's only fair if I admit, you have a ways to go before you could kill a dragon as I can. You know this, right?
Yeah.
But you're learning quick. I'm sure you'll get to it. However, in terms of the strength of your heart, Sasha, you're just about as strong as I am. In fact, even more.
She shifts.
Your heart is still young, full of energy and vibrancy, and may it retain that as long as possible. May it retain it forever. Even I still have my spark. He pounds his chest. I'm not afraid of... I'm not afraid of you losing your passion. Though, I suppose I'm just a little afraid of leaving you on a note of not honesty. When the time comes when you look back on this time, I feel like a question that will be running through your head, as long as the way it might seem, as far off as it might appear to be. I think the question of how Noctua felt would be one that would weigh on your mind, similar to how it weighs on mine.
Yeah, she starts to nod. And this is the point where it gets hard for you. Kato's words still ring true.
I was very lonely before coming to this island. Felt I've encountered a number of people who I've talked to all the time parting, and none of them as enthusiastic and bright as you. I find that when I take steps on this island, when I woke up, when I found my feet treading upon this land, and my moving across, doing all the things I usually do, and yet doing it with the company, having it appreciated. Felt all the more fresh, like I had just become a champion once again.
She smiles at you.
Appreciating that is a thing of its own. I think if I didn't have that, I think I would have forgotten why I appreciated being a legend.
What? How?
Well, we all need to hear things from other people sometimes. We all need the outside to remember. We don't, we get complacent, we get comfortable. We might have the words to comfort ourselves, but we might forget how to use them if we don't have someone to use them with. That enjoyment, that spark, that smile is... I suppose it reminded me that there was indeed something worth fighting for. Legend worth holding in this the world.
You say that, and your memory sparks back to that first run through the woods, fighting a pig, picking up a sword and playing hero for a moment. You fought for survival, yes, but at the same time, at the time, it felt like the world was unclouded, wonderfully, beautifully picturesque. Almost seemed like you were staring at it through a shining spring. Got murkier over time, though. You had to turn to banditry just to keep yourself afloat. But someone was able to drag you back to that place. Was able to let you see the world with open eyes again, and they've been open ever since. And for a moment, it feels like you're not... It's so weird. You've been more than happy to exist as the champion of Kato. Someone who pouts and who pushes this open-hearted, open-eyed interaction with the world. But for the moment, you're starting to remember what actually came before that. Noctu with a person. Beyond the philosophy and beyond the blessing, there is something that man was trying to draw out from you. And as you look down at this kid, you start to feel it again. You start to feel that purity and clarity of purpose that you only feel sometimes when your heart is truly laid bare. And you gain a almost nostalgic sense immediately. Like, despite the fact that you've only been here for a short time, this will be part of your essence forever. A second childhood, if you would.
He takes that in a bit, and he smiles a little bit, feeling that just sweet happiness kind of come back for a moment. And he ends up kind of just sitting there for a moment. It feels a little nice to admit that stuff. But kind of turns over. Because no matter, that all the legend stuff can be kind of scary. You felt the fear too. That's why you're really brave, because you can feel it. I don't have to explain it to you. People can disappear. People can die. People can go away, and you might not get to see people anymore. I think you know all that.
Yeah. She shrinks down.
And you also know all of that is still something that a legend must deal with, perhaps more than anyone. Yet you still want to be a legend, don't you?
She nods. Like, it's the one thing she wants in the entire world.
Well, fight for it, all right. And I think you'll be able to do it, Sasha. Just, Above all, I just wanted to make sure you remembered that.
Yeah.
That path will be painful. It'll hurt, okay? It'll be a lot. You won't always have people there to, well, won't always be in a situation where everything will work out.
Yeah.
Sometimes those waters will wash you away and you might not see people again, okay? But he stops right there, cutting that train of thought right at that point. And then, and what I'm going to say to you, I'm going to say as your friend. And someone who respects you as a person. Okay, Sasha? And as a future legend.
She nods.
So long as you continue to fight beyond that, you will find it will not be able to conquer you. You will be able to fight past all of that for the sake of being a legend. You will be truly unstoppable. Your heart is made for it. So don't let anyone stop you. Don't let anything stop you.
She sort of grips hard.
And most importantly, don't confuse that with being happy with what you are. If you ever lose that spark, that enjoyment, well, then you've lost the reason you want to be a legend, don't you? Because you like it, right? It's the same for me. I love being a legend. I love inspiring kids like you. He kind of like pats her head again. So, even though it might be painful to lose them, try to be a legend with people, not just for them. Make sure people can see you, smile at you, be with you, support you. It'll make you feel a lot better. It'll make the world feel a lot more bearable.
You say that. I want you to tell me honestly, how much of this are you saying for your own sake and how much for hers? And how much have you been able to embody that yourself? I'm genuinely so curious.
Noctua, a lot of what he's saying is stuff that he was thinking about himself. He's been thinking about a long time. And it's something that finally clicked for him back in that Springs, especially after the moment of almost losing someone again, encountering them, getting there, talking with Kato. This has been something he's been struggling with for almost 50 years. Perhaps even before that, but in a situation where he didn't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And it's only now, after encountering Sasha and the other people on this island, that he finally got over it. And it's only now realizing how he probably could have gotten over this decades earlier if he had someone talk to him about it.
Oh.
So in a way, this is all for her because he wanted it too. It's weirdly the message he doesn't need to know anymore because he's finally come to terms with it himself. But the thing that's fully for him is helping the person he cares about realize it too.
She hears that and starts bawling.
Yeah, cry your ass out, kid. It's fine.
This goes on for probably 5 minutes, honestly. It just goes and goes and goes, and you spend a quiet moment just patting her head and saying nothing yourself, having spoken everything you wished. How are you doing?
Noctua is... It's kind of interesting. He was feeling real bad, but he almost feels lighter now. Yeah. He feels really torn up on the inside. He's not crying. He's actually a little at peace. Probably more at peace right now than he has been for a while. He just sort of feels that this was correct. This is good. And he realizes that with basically everything off his chest, he's now left in a situation where there's nothing really left between him. There's nothing else he really feels like he needs to get off. And just in this moment, he finally realizes he can just enjoy Sasha's company.
You say that, you think it, and you decide to live in the moment for now. And Sasha finally pulls herself together enough to start to speak. And when she starts talking, it's not 100% coherent, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish we met somewhere else. I wish we met I wish we met as other people on a different shore.
He
She-
kind of pulls the
she's-
brim of the hat back a little bit to look at her. Hey, Sasha.
Yeah?
There's a little extra I want to say.
Yeah.
You know that feeling I mentioned about Kato?
Yeah.
Well, a long time ago, I didn't think I'd ever meet anyone who'd be able to make me feel that happy again, you know?
Mm.
I was wrong. I love you, kiddo. Great.
Her,
I'm sure you'll find someone else too. You'll find a lot of people.
you say that and her face screws up. She just hugs you with all of her heart. And almost quietly, you feel the presence of someone watching shift. And you feel almost the character of the island change for a moment. And just almost like a mirage, the moment passes. You get to level up the Fox God's Blessing.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
And just like that. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna say let's take a sec because
Yeah, sure
holy
thing.
shit. Oh,
Uh,
that was incredible.
Holy.
Noctua and Sasha, you come back up from the from the beach, almost as everyone else moves towards
mhm.
a common point of reunion. Sola, you emerge from Sasha's cabin. You've got something you were prepping.
Yeah. So Sola had been cooking some stuff up for their journey, and also, like has the bags ready to go, but comes out carrying what looks to be a cake. And she walks up. So today felt like a good day for a birthday.
It's not, I fucking
Oh.
Sasha glowy eyed, but with fucking obviously like super
Yeah.
red eyelids. Like,
And you're not gonna believe this, but when I was going back to the caves to get some supplies, I actually came across some min, which is those notes that you found, Noctua.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and there was a part of it that was scratched out. It took me a bit to remember, but what's so unique about this herb is that it just invokes this nostalgic feeling over you, like you're eating a food from your childhood. And I thought, what better time than to use it in this cake? And it's a cheesecake that's tinted blue with the mint and has some mint
Ooh.
on top of it.
Excellent.
Uh-oh, not food. I sense a bad vibe coming.
Excellent.
No, but really, Knox says, "Ha, that sounds fantastic. I've had enough reminiscence for today, most likely, but eat away, kid."
Sasha's going to take the cake. I'm gonna save this for when I need to think back. If that's okay.
Sure, but there's also plenty.
Sasha's gonna take a slice out of it and eat it almost immediately. Then she starts crying again.
Oh.
Chuck
You
just
all
scratches
right?
his head.
She takes another bite. It tastes really good. It's supposed to be nostalgic, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a comforting thing. So if you're taking some with you, you can remember. Just-
Then why can I only think of today? She takes another bite.
Oh. You gotta.
Hold on to her shoulder.
This'll be a nostalgic day for you, kid.
She's just crying and eating cake.
Ah, kid, come on.
Look,
Cry later,
Look.
not now. This is the happy moment. Come on.
Lexi
give me-
fucking
give-
looking from Sasha to Sola going like, is this supposed to happen? Is this okay?
I'll tell you what. He takes a big meaty hand and takes a slice and eats it like bread. I'll have some too. See, look, I'm happy.
Noctua, you think back to the conversations that you got into before.
Noctua, throughout this
Yeah.
entire time, has been pretty stoic-faced. And after taking some bites and reflecting on the day, the conversation, and having it hit at once, a few tears start falling from his eyes.
No.
Oh. Never mind. You can. He kind of turns away and faces away a bit. He keeps eating the cake, though.
Soul looks away. I'm a little bit regretting putting so much mint into this food.
Are you
Oh.
certain this is supposed to be happening? Is this the intended effect?
well, it's just supposed to remind you of good times, and she just starts rambling.
Oh,
Oh my god, you guys. You spend some time eating this cake and fucking crying before you get yourselves together and ready to head out. I'm like, I need a sec to collect myself so I don't fucking cry. Eats the cake. Oh no, here it comes.
Cake that makes you cry.
Oof, ouch, oof, my feelings.
Oh, this food's my favorite. Just starts crying.
You take your time getting together again, and eventually you find your way through the caves, finally back to the reef. This session's really good, you guys.
Yeah.
yeah!
And as you make it there, well, it's got a different vibe than before. But you kind of expected that to begin with, to tell you
Yeah.
the whole truth.
Yeah.
There was clearly the signs of a fight here.
Oh, I see.
You
That man's been punted up a.
you come out onto the reef. Silver God sort of walks in front of you. Well, I think I'm going to save my parting gift till a little bit later. It's your choice. We can walk down the reef towards the ship, or you can walk up the reef. Her eyes scan the horizon. Seems like all the people from the ship went up the reef, though, so...
Oh.
Hop,
Do you think-
hop, hop, hop.
He kind of thinks, oh, we could steal their boat.
That ship's
No.
deserted if you want to take it.
Is-
He turns around. No. That would be rather cruel.
uncalled for?
Exactly. They may be. He kind of looks. They are of Rauji. I have my grudges. However, he kind of pulls up his hand. It would not be the right thing to simply leave them here in this spot. Although, if you'd like company, Silver God, maybe it wouldn't be too bad.
Silver God thinks about it, looking over. I just had a question first. Hops down. Can you crew a ship by yourself?
I mean, I did. Yeah, I was. He kind of thinks. I did crash. Okay, very well.
Yeah, you
Let's
might need
go.
a little bit of help.
Yes. Let us rescue them then. You there,
You.
person on top of that large structure.
They look down. Yes, hello?
Hey, we've been
Oh.
stranded on the island. We'd like to be able to get off, if you would not mind.
Oh, you're speaking Raojin. Oh, thank goodness. Crawls to the edge. Looking back and forth. Be careful. A giant bird dropped me up here.
Giant
Oh,
bird.
he kind of thinks, one of those birds of paradise, correct?
Yes, they're very vicious. We were chased up the island, and they've been picking up me and
Oh,
my fellow.
well, if you need a hand down, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. You're Noctua, correct?
He stops. Yes.
Are you sure you want to help me?
Will you let me get on your boat as payment?
Thanks. I need to talk to the Scholar Blade about that.
Oh, we'll talk to him. Why don't you get off anyways? Oh, worry about that. Don't you worry too
Hops
much
down.
about it.
You catch this snail Mirai soldier. Silver God sort of walks up. Ooh, I'm gonna Scholar Blade. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna be in my house.
Oh, no. Hang on.
What?
You shouldn't just run off like that if I'm going to be facing this. Don't you want to see us off proper?
I guess I could wait by the boat. I can break a bottle of wine against the side of the boat. It'll be great.
No.
Turns the corner. The soldier looks over at them. They're gonna roll to die.
Yes, snail people.
Oh yeah, they look over. Oh, deity of Mitsudai here. Okay. Are they part of your company? Looking over at you, Noctua.
Of course, I only keep the grandest of company.
Well,
Again, a bit over your pay grade, don't you think?
Guess so.
What is the name of your Scholar Blade?
Scholar Blade Shinpei. You don't know a Shinpei.
I don't know a Shinpei, I'm afraid.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing.
No?
Kind of walks up ahead. I can take you to where we're encamped.
Sure.
You get led up this towering coral just structure. Sasha follows behind, like wedged behind Sola, and you make it to the next area of the reef. This just gorgeous, almost rainbow array out in front of you.
Ooh.
And you all pile in as the light starts to catch. It's getting a little later in the day, and the different colors of coral are causing it to refract and take on this almost rainbow-like appearance.
Ooh.
They start to run forwards. Okay, this is where they've been ambushing us, so be a little careful.
All right.
I have never been this successful in adventuring this far in. I cannot tell you what lies beyond this point.
I see.
Exciting.
Can you tell us, though, Lexi, how do they attack?
Can he?
You have not been personally attacked. You have run.
I see. Yeah.
This soldier actually turns around. Well, they grab you and then drop you.
Oh. Pretty simple. Don't even have the strength or will to keep a grab going.
This one turns around and runs around the corner. Oh, you're back! Sees Noctua.
Oh, do I scare you, little man? Go, we're going to talk to Shinpei. Perhaps I'll help you with your bird problem.
Very well. The creature actually grabbed our cannoneer.
Oh. Where? You gotta stop. Which direction did they take them off to?
Points up in this direction. And I've been trying to do anything to like attract its attention, but
He nods his head. Well, in that case, I prefer to speak to your Scholar Blade with full company. Let us save your cannoneer first.
Okay.
He stopped.
He seems
pulls out a bow,
shocked.
and then pulls out an arrow as well, and he's going to start going this way.
Okay. You give me a roll to die.
All right.
Okay. What are you locking in? Oh boy, yeah, that's a good stat for that.
Mm-hmm.
You spot the creature circling, and you almost hear someone yelling from its talons. as it begins to circle, preparing to drop this person.
All right.
Noctua, what are you doing?
All right. Noctua is going to wait
Okay.
just a bit, and he's going to wait for either two things to happen.
Okay.
One, for a period where the bird flies over something that is pretty high up and safe to be dropped on.
Okay.
Or two, he's waiting for the person to be dropped, at which point he will fire an arrow and catch them on their little flowy, silky robes and cling them to another object.
Okay, so, the bird flies over, and yes, indeed, it's gonna drop this person. Give me a roll.
All right, this is a really accurate shot required,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna put in an extra 2d6s in this one. I am going to channel all of my vision, all of my archery into this single strike. It's a good thing I did that.
Yes, so, you start to take aim, and then, you're not actually too confident about this shot, and then someone actually yells from behind you, "Come on, Noctua, you can do it!" Give me a reroll.
It feels good.
It
feels very
feels
good.
Very good. And you start to take aim. This creature flying around, and then yes, the person is dropped, and you see the silhouette yelling and screaming on the way, like shifting and twitching around as it falls. This person is so angry, and for a second you're like, "Is that man floor guy?" No, this one yells as much, but not enough spooky darkness. And you take aim, and your arrow strikes someone and drives them backwards, sticking them to this gigantic, towering sculpture of coral. Unhand me or unclaw me, you bastard! Oh, you better run! Ha! Coward! Fool!
Give the fucking Majima haircut.
Flee! Flee from the might of Captain Ruger! The bird flies off, and then he comes to a rest. What's going on here? Why have I not been splattered against the ground?
It is by my arrow and hawkish eye that you haven't, Captain Ruger.
Do I recognize this man? He thinks to himself.
He puts his
aloud.
hands out to the side in like a well-then presentation, like, well, do you?
Well, do I? We're going to find out together. He's gonna roll for this. He absolutely does. He looks at you. Oh, you're the target.
Oh? He kind of thinks, oh, you've come to kill me, have you?
I mean, I did. Everybody else didn't, though, so...
Oh, that's even more interesting. He kind of walks up. Here, let me help you down. He kind of scales it a bit and pulls out the arrow.
Ha! Thanks! You let Captain Ruger down, and he... For someone who just admitted to wanting to try to kill you, he seems awfully amicable. You similarly pay it no mind.
Yeah, Noctua presses his feet against the coral and leaps past him and kind of slides a bit, then stands up straight. Well, I'm not so used to assassins. Who sent you?
He stops. I sent myself.
Oh? That's the most interesting answer you could have given me. Tell me then, why do you seek my death?
Everyone back here. He's just talking about... Hold on, I'm gonna move a little closer, okay?
No, I think we're good back here. No?
You, up here. Wow. I heard about the strongest champion, the one and only Noctua, and I believe that my glorious invention, the cannon, would be capable of taking him down. But, I was born a little too late for that. Already exiled from the country before my time. So, I signed up on this Scholar Blades mission. He looks up and over. That man's job is to keep a catalog of where you've been and where you're going, you know?
A perfect companion for one who wishes to fight me.
Unfortunately, I can't fight you anymore, though.
No?
A screaming man cut all of my cannons in half.
Oh, well, unfortunate. You'll have to try that again some other time then. I'm interested in seeing what this cannon is. I'm sure it'll be quite an interesting invention.
Did you see the fireworks last night?
Oh, yes, beautiful. Was that?
That was me!
Oh, well, I'd love to see what your glorified fireworks machine can do to me. He smiles.
Yeah. Glorified fireworks, please. The cannon is capable of it. He looks back to the boat. We can have this discussion later. I like you. He takes a step forward and holds out a hand.
He bows, and then kind of sits up, and then reaches a hand out and shakes.
It's a shame. None of the other champions right now use projectile weapons. My cannon's been able to beat literally everyone.
Oh,
so
you beat wow. Okay.
They all insisted on using melee weapons. I stood like a mountain's distance away and just bombarded them.
Oh, sounds like them to me.
One of them, though. What was his name again? He strokes his beard. Some bastard using a sword. We reached something of a stalemate. Absolutely refused to move. Just sat there and cut everything I shot at him in half. So stupid.
He kind of thinks back. Oh, yes, I think I know what you're talking about then. You'll need to invent a bigger cannon first, or maybe a smaller one, something to sneak past his guard.
Smaller cannon. That would solve perhaps one of my problems. He looks over at you, but I ran out of opponents in Raoji, so I had to seek opponents abroad.
I see. Well, come back once you have a weapon that can stand up to this. He holds out his bow.
He looks at the bow. That thing. I think I'll have to take you up on that.
Of course. He kind of turns around. Hey! We're going, right?
The snail soldiers perk up. What? Are you? Hold on, they run over.
We've reached an impasse, and so
Yes.
the only option is to keep going forward.
I can't shoot him, so we decided not to do it. Do what? I was going to try to kill him. They look at each other. Our mission is observation, not combat, not murder. That's not the reason I signed up. You should have found a different captain in that case. Ha! He looks pleased.
Knock to a like, pats his shoulder a bit. So sad to see the hearts of Raoji sealing up. They can't even see someone so open observation or so open motivation nowadays. Oh.
My heart weeps for this country. The two of them walk away arm in arm, and the soldiers just look at each other like, what the fuck was that?
Noctua makes a mental note of the hot springs.
Of course.
And then keeps going this way.
You guys.
Lexi just fucking walks up to these snail soldiers and is like, I have several questions. What is a cannoneer? What is a cannon? What is a scholar blade? And is this common in Raoji? Looking after the two who are now best friends.
Well, Captain Ruger's kind of unique. He invented this through a combination of magic and what he calls alchemy. He created this thing called the cannon, and he insisted on fighting all of the strongest champions and then proceeded to make them stand in an area kind of like this. Motions around to this clearing while he set up a really long distance away, and he just bombarded them for a really long time. And if if they left the clearing, he'd declare himself the winner. So, he's beaten. Raise his finger quotes. Every champion of Rauji except for one who got bored. So, he's accompanied us. Looks over here. Looks over at these two. To fight the one champion remaining. Yeah.
I see.
As far as the Scholar Blade, you get the rest of the lore as you walk. Scroll back. And you head to the top of the reef.
Yeet.
It's gorgeous up here.
Yeah.
You come to the very crest of it. As the sun starts to dip down. Noctua, you walk forward with Captain Ruger.
Yeah. Noctua speaks out. Greetings, Scholar Blade Shinpei. He bows his head down as his attention is turned over.
Oh.
I hear that I've given you much of a task and appointment. I hope you do not grow tired of my escalades.
He turns around and looks at you, actually a little surprised, and then bows back. Greetings, Noctua. His eyes kind of like gaze at you, this deep punching stare. Well, if we're meeting now, that means I failed my mission. So, I'm wondering what my next step becomes. He thinks. I have to ask. Call it satisfying my own curiosity. What are you doing on this island?
Shipwrecked, unfortunately. Nothing more complex than that, per se.
He thinks about that. If it were a simple shipwreck, we would have been able to continue tailing you undetected.
Well, it was a pretty big storm.
He shakes his head. We quite literally lost sight of you. We saw no storm either.
He thinks about that a bit.
Takes a step forward.
And then he's like, maybe I just wanted a little break.
He looks around. How so? It's been the job of me and my predecessors to make sure that you don't get into too much trouble while abroad.
He thinks about that a little bit. Well, you and your predecessors, how many there are,
They run past.
made for rather poor company. Though that was not your job.
No. Our job was making sure that the champion of the Fox God, the once Fox God, doesn't fall into the wrong hands. There was a time when you were exploring the Southern Capes that we were a little worried about you. You made a worrying number of friends.
I must interject. A caged beast is still a beast, and a caged god is still a god. But do continue.
It's so funny. You notice that Rigger's nodding along with everything you say? Like, over the last few minutes, this guy is suddenly on your side. That's a very good point. Shinpei looks over to the captain. Captain, I trust you haven't forgotten your assignment for this mission. What, you mean ferry you guys around, make sure you get from point A to point B? Yes. You are working under the direct employ of the student. Similarly, our mission is your mission. Well, I've got a mission of my own, too! Yes, one that I thought would be compatible. He looks over at the two of you. Oh, it totally is. We're gonna try that stuff out later. It's gonna be great. I just gotta fix my cannons first.
Mm.
Shinpei shakes his head. Well, if you are shipwrecked here, we will turn you loose onto land again. You may have the services of our boat.
You have my gratitude, Shinpei.
Hmm.
I do hope the student is in good health.
He thinks about that. And then the slightest smile actually comes to his face. Yes. Gladly so.
Nod with head.
I expected you to hold no small amount of ire towards the gods.
He kind of thinks about that a bit. No, I wouldn't say I don't. Though. I may pick and choose, and I may also forgive, for that is within my abilities. I may be cordial, at the very least. You have let me roam so free. I suppose I should be grateful.
He scratches his chin. Roaming free is... Something seems to be bothering him about that. And your intuition almost picks it up. Could you give me a roll to die?
Yeah. I'm going to drop my or should I drop my swing or
no, you can keep it.
okay. He kind of stops a bit. If you seek to hide something from the champion of the heart, I would say there was no point.
I suppose it was a foolish endeavor. He takes a step forward. Our job is to make sure that you are contained to a certain extent, to keep you out of issues that potentially could influence Raji's future. You look across. That boat. You look at that boat out in the harbor. That one looks actually shockingly familiar. These people have been tailing you.
Yeah.
Maybe controlling the shape of your adventure.
We're kind of like, Ugh. He kind of thinks about that. Oh. I hope you're not the reason things have been dreadfully boring and lonely recently. I won't put the blame on you for that.
I'm afraid we are.
Oh. Well, you've given me no choice but to blame you. Cut it out.
He takes a step forward. After following your exploits for a time and chronicling them, I've come to some sort of an opinion on you. He looks out back across the harbor. Perhaps meeting on this island was a stroke of good fortune. Could you walk with me for a second?
I suppose so, yes.
He moves forward. As he passes, he pats the snail helmets. Quietly, he seems to have greatly appreciated that you've saved every single one of his boys.
Good.
Walks up
Doctor
here.
strides across these as well.
I am a scholar, first and foremost. I'm capable of fighting, certainly, but I would much rather study and understand. And over the last few years, I think I've come to understand you greatly, even without your knowledge of me. That feels slightly disingenuous. I think in order to properly study the champion of the heart, I should engage with you. Perhaps in the way a scholar blade properly should, by confronting you and trying to comprehend your totality. He looks out and over. So, this is the part where I would normally ask to fight you, but I would rather fight you with words instead. He crosses his legs and then snaps his fingers, and this man runs over with a fucking tea set and sets it down between the two of you. And then he motions for you to sit directly across from him, and he runs back. I want you to convince me of the legend of Noctua and the validity of the Fox God. I want you to regale me with your tales from your own mouth. He looks down, and for a second you understand this person. I would much rather write a myth than some sort of log, tracking your actions and registering them as a series of events, risks, and rewards is not the same as following around a legend and penning their tale. Perhaps I would be better suited to being a follower of the hummingbird.
No. Do not discount yourself so quickly, Shinpei. For history, to a degree. He kind of like stops. I seek not to lecture a scarlet blade of the goddess. However,
he shakes his head. He shakes his head. Please, my god is the student. I am here to learn.
Of course. He kind of continues then. When you look around and you see the place here, when you see the way I acted, the way I talked, when you walk around the districts, the markets, is the world a log? Or is it alive?
It's alive, certainly.
And so, to preserve history as logs robs the world of life. It robs it of genuine feeling. There's a level of humanity that must remain in all logs, in all history. So, I believe you are simply acting to the best of your abilities as a scholar blade. A hummingbird would sing solely of the songs and not care about the logs.
He smiles. You get the feeling you've actually impressed Shinpei. Thank you for putting to rest one of the long-standing doubts I've had.
He kind of nods his head a bit.
The pursuit of knowledge in itself is something glorious and worldly, but I'll admit, part of me misses the romance. He pours himself a cup of tea, and then he looks at you dead in the eyes. These cool, like, he's got this long flowing scarf around him that catches in the breeze, and his eyes are almost as like empty yet sage-like as the silver god's eyes.
Ooh.
So, I want you to be frank with me. I want to return with a report on the exploits of Noctua. Convince me of their... He was about to say validity again. Convince me of your passion. And you look out across that long sunset, pour yourself a drink, and take it. This is going to be a debate. A good old Rousian style debate.
Excellent. He takes the tea and takes a sip. I haven't had leaves like these in a while.
Of course. It's only fitting that I pour you this here, right now. We've been saving it for a special occasion. And, according to a prophecy, admittedly a far-fetched one, the greatest scholar blade of them all will meet their end atop a high spire. He motions around. I see us at a high point, and I'm convinced of my own strength, so I will spare you no expense.
Ooh, I see. He kind of takes a sip then, and he is going to he's locked in blue, which is all about his legend. So he's going to kind of think it's pretty strong. So I'm gonna take that one way. Well, Shinpei, I've learned something quite interesting during my stay here.
No.
He kind of sets a little bit. Thanks. Well, I must admit, throughout my journey, your long-standing concern was one almost sinking deeply with me. I could not simply answer a question as deep as the value of history and logs. After all, that does not fit a character like me, lest I was already thinking about it, correct? My font of wisdom is limited, and all must be gained from my own heart.
Nods.
But I've come to the idea recently that my own legend, I may be able to describe you great things. And I will talk to you in depth about the legend of Noctua. However, my own opinions are very limited. Will they be enough to convince you, a great scholar blade, the student? I believe your goddess will be left wanting. He kind of, no, I'm not conceding defeat, let me not get this message confused. However, he kind of, stands up for a moment, and, he kind of, waves his hand up and kind of gestures on over to, his companions down there.
Yeah.
To come on up. If you would not mind, I would ask for more sets for this tea. Perhaps even for a moment. After all, legend means more to the world than simply the legend.
You motion them over.
You are, after all, as a historian, you must hunger quite severely for primary sources, yes?
I suppose we'll turn it into a banquet then. He snaps his fingers and the soldiers scatter and let everybody up.
Alright.
Fucking new bro sits down right next to you.
Yeah. I love his fucking Majima haircut. This guy sits immediately next to you, and frankly, it's hard to tell if this man is Raojin or not. Like, yeah.
He's just like a guy, and he sits down next to you and like joins you with a big old smile, immediately cutting ahead of literally all of your other friends. Yeah, pour me some of that.
All right, he does. He pours out some tea this time for Ruger.
Captain
and
Ruger.
And then lets others come up and
back.
More tea is poured. I would, via the very nature of proposing this, like to make an argument for the sake of it and make a blow of understanding. The nature of that both is not only gathering me support, but it says a lot about my character as a person.
Yes.
And that is the real point of this debate, so I will roll and see what happens.
Just roll and see what happens. Oh boy, okay. They get to roll as well.
Yes.
So, your point is, summarize your point for me very fast.
The point is, from this, beyond just simply gathering these people forward, the point of this argument is that to spread the idea that Noctua himself is a great part of legend, is a great part of history, and yet examining him alone is not enough to understand him. Okay. Via learning the perspectives of what he affects, you gain a full picture of who the man Noctua actually was.
Okay. This Shinpei looks around and then snaps his fingers again. Everyone else, you may feel free to join us as well. He's teaching a good lesson here. I understand that rank was very important when we were on the ship, but we are all currently stranded. So, let's all join in together. He gains a +3 bonus for teaching someone something, and he's going to grab this yellow. 19 does not beat your 25.
Nice.
I'll scoot in and over.
But I do understand he is quite the worthy opponent.
He is actually like you can see it. You can see it from his looks. This guy's actually pretty scary.
Mm-hmm. He's scary in a different way. He's scary how Noctua feels Lexi could be scary if Lexi gained enough confidence to be like this.
You basically you watch this. So right now you can choose to deal damage equal to your swing. Or you can choose to force him into a specific, or you can choose to ban a color.
Wow. I don't think I'm going to ban a color per se.
Okay.
I don't particularly know understanding. I think I've got an idea of yellow being something closer to the idea. If he used that there, it might have something to do with him learning or teaching or instilling knowledge. So I'm going to keep that in mind, but I think in this way, this was less of like a strike him out of something. This is opening up more. So this is more just like his opening hand is like, I take the first step in. I grab the first napkin, so I'm just going to do damage.
Okay.
I'm going to do that 13.
You deal 13 big O damage to him as he loses some status, having invited a bunch of other people to the table. That's like that. In a proper debate or discussion like that, you wouldn't open it up, especially to lower-ranking people, and especially to a man as raucous as Captain Ruger. Also, making the situation so much worse, the Silver God wraps an arm around you as literally a foreign deity.
Yeah.
And, like, he just watches this silently, like, So, yeah, you deal some damage. Sasha takes a sip. Oh, it's really bitter. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. It's okay. It might be a slightly advanced taste. I believe we have some sort of berry tea. This one rushes forward and pours a cup for Sasha. Thank you. He thinks about this. So, your companions, they're all new to me. It appears to be quite the mixed company. I recognize. Looks over to Sola. I recognize you, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, the guardian of Amari Village, and I believe something of a folk hero. It makes sense that you would be drawn together. You two are sort of birds of the same feather. I don't recognize you. Looks over to Lexi.
Yes, I rather feared as much. Are you familiar with the Kingdom of Tenrek?
He thinks. He's actually going to roll for that. He might,
boy.
actually.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
He thinks about that for a second. Yes, I am familiar with the Kingdom of Tenrek, or the former Kingdom of Tenrek.
Lexi immediately had started moving towards him, forgetting his place, and then stops. What do you mean, former?
He looks over at you a little surprised. The Kingdom of Tenrek is a ruin. Let's go with this.
What do you mean? Lexi pushes his way into the middle, completely disregarding the fact that there's a thing going on. What do you mean? What happened to it?
It doesn't exist anymore. We're unsure of the exact nature of what occurred there, but it is now nothing more than a collection of empty buildings.
That is not possible. That I require evidence of this.
T-motions, and one of the snail soldiers actually starts to run away, probably down to the ship to retrieve some stuff. You will have it in a few moments. Please, if I could ask you to sit down.
I will accompany them. Please excuse me.
You go with. Strange being, that one. I'm unsure of their true nature. You, however, I recognize. Silver God, same expression as always, just kind of waves. Our relationship with Mitsudai is not one of mutual cooperation, though I'm sure they would be fascinated to find out that your imprisonment failed. Yeah, they can't keep me down. This island, on the other hand, drums her fingers on your shoulder, a little annoyed. Sparks, almost like individual matches, start to dig into your shoulder a little bit.
He uses that as an opportunity to move and readjust and put his arm around them too. And it's just he kind of turns back to Shinpei and is like, caged gods, still gods. Must be careful, Shinpei.
As you say that, they lie down sideways and put their legs across Sola's lap and just fucking form a people couch over here.
Gosh.
Sola, Sola, who looked like she might have been about to go after Lexi, just suddenly sits back down again.
So, I believe we have delayed for long enough.
Sasha.
I have a legend to describe, right? Oh.
Sasha actually like shifts back and forth. I'm gonna make sure Lexi's okay. Okay.
Thanks, Sasha.
All right.
Sasha looks back, waves at you, and then runs off.
I feel as though I've lost a powerful ally with that one. But...
Oh, come on. You've already got the... I was going to say the two strongest people on the island right next to you, but Sasha's pretty tough, too.
He speaks up. These are the companions I've spent time with, varied as they are.
Yeah.
And each their own. Each their own, a sort of a reflection of myself. They too are characters in the legend of Noctua. He kind of thinks of it. And there's also the other one. You fought him last night.
Yes, that sort of monstrosity. I'm unsure of where its strength comes. It appears to be some sort of ungodly power. I could understand if it was your blessing. Looks over to the Silver God. But it did not seem to be so. And that was unnatural, unworldly.
He kind
looks over to you, Noctua. So I assume you've had interaction with whatever that creature was.
Indeed. We fought on a couple of occasions on this island. Though, he kind of stops again. Shinpei, I must ask. The sun seems to be setting, and while I will enjoy this tea, I was under the impression that my legend was far in saying true. So tell me yourself, what aspects do not appeal, or what aspects do you desire more knowledge of? Let us cut to the core of this issue.
He folds his hands and the glasses light up. I seek to explore the aspects of the legend that are so frequently condemned abroad. Your legend, Noctua, is a helpful one, I suppose, to the people of this land, whatever land this might be. I'm unsure of our location in the sea right now, but people from the surrounding area have come to view you as some sort of a hero. At home, however, your legend inspires disquiet. Currently, Kato, caged or not, draws power from the concept of open-heartedness, free love. The part that I take issue with, or I suppose the part that I intend to try to understand better, is how your heart has managed to help you and how it has managed to get you into so much trouble. I'm aware of the stories. I'm aware of how your exile happened, and I'm aware of how much it hurt you. This is going to be a clash!
All right.
Blue v blue.
All right. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Oh boy.
Beat that.
I might need to pull on the power of D6s for this one.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't forget to put them in lockout.
Yep. I'm gonna do 2, and I'm gonna sacrifice cheating and use my free one because I might need the heart later.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna cheat at this, so.
Oh boy, yeah. So
Sasha, come back.
Sasha fucked off. Too bad. He says this to you, and it cuts through you like a fucking knife. The idea that in the homeland your legend is viewed as a problem. He's gonna lock you out of blue, or he's gonna wound blue.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And, yep, drop your blue, wound it. Yep, and then reroll.
Alrighty.
And then you get to go next.
Taking red.
Taking red, okay.
So.
That sucks to hear.
It does suck to hear. He feels his pride take a hit at that. And he kind of like he sighs, takes a sip of tea. Shame then. There's much to correct, I suppose. And he kind of redirects a bit.
Okay.
He's not going to talk about his own legend because it kind of stings a bit. And he knows that, well, he probably knows a lot about his legend at this point. That's not the problem. He turns back instead and looks at him and is like, all right then. Let me put it this way. He kind of, he is going to swing in. Roll to do.
Yep. Okay. Let's see what they got. Nope.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so put it in a way that Shinpei will not understand.
Okay.
Which is a hard task, but I trust you with it. It's about the heart.
Okay. But I feel like he would, since he admitted to understanding it.
Oh, okay.
Can I give an argument and maybe get a
Yeah.
reroll?
Yeah.
If I do well? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He speaks first. This might be difficult to grasp. But the reason for my struggle is, well, let's take it back just a couple of minutes ago. You spoke of that desire to obtain a true grasp of history, to understand it, to place your heart in that way forward, right?
Yes.
For the sake of knowledge, for the sake of what you think is right.
Yes.
And yet, by doing that, you also admit that by opening the hearts, one will give Kato power.
Yes.
For Kato himself, the reason why he is such a powerful god, the reason for why he is such a devious leech upon your society, lies less...
Silver God laughs.
Yeah. That lies less in the... Okay, give me a second. Let me think. That lies less in the aspects of the heart being another thing humanity needs. It is the aspect of the heart being the way humanity judges things. By looking and seeing whether to ignore the heart or follow the heart, humanity makes its calls. And the way forward, we understand that the heart is a part of the world. It is a part of life. And by cutting it off or sealing it away, you weaken some aspects of that life. And in result of that, you also weaken your sight of the truth. By cutting away the heart, I would lose track of what I actually have done. And very recently, until now, I have cut away my heart to a certain degree. To see the world clearly, you must feel it, for the world is not simply a log, and without feeling the world, it will lie to you and it will hurt you. Much like how I will face a blade, I must face the world with an open heart. For if I fear it, it'll simply stab me in the back.
He thinks about that deeply. I suppose common turns of phrase are getting to the heart of the issue and discovering the heart of the piece. I don't think those idioms exist for no reason. I'll entertain the thought. Give me a reroll.
All right, let's see. Oh wow, worse.
Worse. Still good.
Still worse.
Shinpei listens to you, hears you out. Just gonna swap to this. I think I understand. I understand the idea that cutting the heart away from an issue might cheapen it, but at the same time, we don't know exactly what removing Kato from our lives will cost yet. Over time, we may come to understand that it could lead to a better future. The possibility is there, and as a scholar, I am interested in exploring it. You can't tell me that there were times that you yourself wondered if you were perhaps feeling too much. Kato was a hedonistic creature that encouraged indulgence at its core. If you wish to capitalize on that as well, I believe your legend will just come across as pieces of Kato propaganda. He's going to roll.
Right.
Give me a clash.
Okay.
Shinpei's so fucking strong.
Yeah.
Shinpei's
The
so
bad
fucking
nocturne's
strong.
coming out. Yeah.
He's gonna wound something actually. Again,
Okay.
another clash and a win. So he's gonna wound one of your attributes. And Silver God starts to sit up, like starting to get a little upset actually. He takes a step forward. So I must question. Tell me what you're wounding first.
So yeah, I'm gonna wound Red.
You're wounding Red. Okay, I'll bring you back. You take that, and it hurts. It stings. The idea that your legend could be just viewed as not yours, but something for the glory of someone else. Silver God gets visibly upset, and you feel that. You feel that coldness spreading throughout you. And he takes another step forward. This time standing up to his full height. And that, of course, carries me to the most pressing question of all. If your legend is simply something in veneration for the fox god, if these people that you've met in this land are part of your legend, if all of this legend business is little more than smoke and fabrication, I, of course, have to ask the most pressing question of all. He looks at you, dead in the eyes. What are you doing on this husk of an island? The land of Ornis vanished 50 years ago. Your eyes cast out across the setting sun, and you look to that island that you saw before, that place of gorgeous sunflowers, and all you see is rot and decay. The place that you spent today, that gorgeous beach, all of it is overgrown and lost. Skeletons of trees resting across the islands like fingers extending towards the heavens. You look back where the cabin was, and scattered where you spent so much time, there doesn't rest a peaceful little cabin. All that sits in its place is a hideous tower. And that's where we'll end tonight.
Oh, okay. Oh, I guess I didn't need to actually. Okay. Right.